Welcome to Bible Answers Now. We've got a fascinating question for today. What did Jacob mean when he said he saw God face to face in Genesis 32:30? How could he claim to have seen God and still lived? Let's dive into this intriguing moment in the Bible and uncover what it really means. In Genesis 32:30, after a mysterious wrestling match with a divine figure, Jacob exclaims, "I have seen God face to face, and yet my life has been delivered." This statement is packed with deep theological meaning, but first, let's set the scene. Jacob, who was about to meet his estranged brother Esau after years of separation, is alone one night by the Jabbok River. Suddenly, a man appears and wrestles with him until daybreak. This wrestling match is not just a physical contest, it's a profound spiritual encounter. Jacob, desperate for God's blessing, refuses to let go of this mysterious figure until he receives it. This man turns out to be much more than Jacob expected. Now, Jacob says he's seen God face to face. So what does this mean? Let's look at a few key verses that help answer this. First, in Exodus 33 verse 20, God tells Moses, "You cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live." This verse gives us a clear understanding that God in his full, unmediated glory is beyond human ability to withstand. So how can Jacob say he saw God's face and survived? The answer lies in the identity of the man Jacob wrestled with. This wasn't God the Father in his infinite glory. It was a manifestation of God in a form that Jacob could comprehend. The figure Jacob wrestled with is understood by many scholars to be a Christophany, a pre-incarnate appearance of Jesus Christ. In the Old Testament, there are several instances where God appears in human-like form, but not in his full, glorious essence. For example, in Genesis 18:1-3, three men appear to Abraham, and one of them speaks with the authority of God. This was God revealing himself in a way that Abraham could engage with, just as he did with Jacob. In this light, Jacob's statement becomes clearer. He didn't see the full glory of God the Father, rather he encountered a tangible, relational presence of God. John 6:46 also supports this by saying, "No one has seen the Father except the one who is from God. Only he has seen the Father." So it's important to note that what Jacob experienced was an extraordinary yet limited vision of God's presence. It was God revealing himself to Jacob in a form he could interact with and understand. This encounter was life-changing for Jacob. His name was changed to Israel, signifying that he had struggled with God and prevailed. This wasn't about winning the fight. It was about seeking and receiving God's blessing. Jacob's victory was not in overpowering the figure, but in clinging to him with faith, even through the struggle. What does this mean for us today? Just like Jacob, we may find ourselves wrestling with doubts, fears, or difficult circumstances. But in those moments, God invites us to engage with him, wrestle with him through prayer, reflection, and seeking his presence. Though we cannot see God's full glory as Jacob did, we can experience his presence in ways that transform our lives. Just as Jacob's faith was strengthened through his struggle, God uses our challenges to deepen our trust in him. In light of this, let's remember that even when we don't understand what's happening in our lives, God is with us, present and working. He may not always reveal himself in the ways we expect, but he does show up when we earnestly seek him. So, how can you apply this in your life today? If you're facing a challenge, don't be afraid to wrestle with God. Bring your questions, your pain, and your doubts to him. He wants to be present in your struggles. Don't let go until you've received his blessing, whether that's clarity, peace, or strength. Pray boldly, just like Jacob did, knowing that God is faithful to meet us where we are. Now let's reflect on this powerful encounter between Jacob and God. What part of this story speaks to you the most? Do you find yourself wrestling with God in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how this story resonates with you. Thank you for joining us today on Bible Answers Now. If this message encouraged you, please like, share, and subscribe so that others can be blessed by the truths found in God's Word. Let's keep growing together in faith. And as we wrap up, I pray that God blesses you and your loved ones, filling your life with his presence, peace, and understanding. See you next time.